Dining with danger, the evil utensil that shocked the world. Here's the origin story of a controversial dining tool, a seemingly innocent object that centuries ago inspired fear, outrage, and even accusations of devilish influence. Picture yourself at a grand medieval feast. The food is sumptuous, the table's lavishly set, and right there beside your plate lies an object that today we wouldn't think twice about. But back then, it was a different story. This item was denounced by religious leaders, banned by rulers, and even called an offense to nature itself. Intrigued yet? Let's dig in. A strange object arrives in Europe. Our story begins in the 11th century, when a Byzantine princess arrived in Venice for her wedding, bringing with her an unusual little item to aid in her dining. As she lifted her food, not with her hands, as was the custom, but with this strange implement, a ripple of shock ran through the court. To the Venetians, this item seemed unnecessary, even pretentious. The princess's choice to use it at all was bold, perhaps too bold for her new Italian audience, who found themselves both intrigued and a bit offended. But the story doesn't stop here. Soon this strange tool would become more than a curiosity. It would become a symbol of something sinister, condemned by the church as devil's work. Now, in medieval Europe, anything unfamiliar was often met with suspicion, and this item was no exception. It wasn't long before the church took notice of this newfangled dining habit. Religious leaders began condemning the object, labeling it as an affront to God's design. After all, the hands had been designed by the Almighty for the purpose of eating, hadn't they? Why would anyone need such an odd contraption? Using this utensil, they argued, was an insult to the natural world, a rejection of the body's own tools. The church went as far as calling it a tool of the devil, a symbol of pride and vanity, and a threat to good, honest dining. Some people even believed that anyone using this mysterious object was in league with dark forces. But why? What was so sinister about this little item? Symbol of royalty and vanity. Despite the outcry, this utensil became a curious symbol of sophistication, especially among the nobility. By the 16th century, it was a sign of elegance and sophistication in Venetian courts. Catherine de' Medici, with her reputation for bringing exotic customs from Italy to France, made sure to include this item in her dining toolkit when she married into French royalty. The aristocracy's interest in this item only fueled its taboo status among the common folk. Ordinary people viewed it as a luxury, a symbol of self-indulgence and moral corruption, something only the very wealthy and perhaps the morally questionable would dare use. By now, the object had acquired a devilish reputation, something unnatural, even threatening, revealing the infamous dinner fork. It's time to lift the curtain on this infamous object, and you probably have guessed already, we are talking about the dinner fork. Yes, that familiar, everyday utensil was once seen as so unsettling, so downright unholy, that it sparked centuries of scandal. The fork, with its claw-like, pitchfork-inspired shape, embodied all kinds of dark symbolism, and many believed that only the devil himself could have conjured up such a design. In the early days, the fork was associated with pride and with a rejection of natural human habits, and with an air of arrogance. It had sharp prongs, like something that could pierce the soul as easily as it pierced a piece of meat. For centuries, people stuck to spoons, knives, and their hands, clinging to the more natural ways of dining, while forks remained objects of suspicion and disdain. From tool of evil to table staple. So how did this devilish little tool make it onto our tables? Well, the fork's slow rise continued as it trickled down from nobility to everyday folks, aided by trade, travel, and the merging of culinary cultures across Europe. By the 18th century, forks were found on tables in France, England, and beyond, finally shedding their taboo status. Today, we don't think twice about forks. But the next time you're dining, give it a thought. This little object, once feared and condemned, has traveled a long way to be at your side every day and at every meal. There is, within the story of the fork, an ounce or two, and maybe more, of wisdom. But for now, let's focus on just this one. The humble fork, once considered a tool of the devil, now sits quietly beside our spoons and knives. No longer controversial, but still bearing traces of its strange past. Culture, religion, and all kinds of other things will have an impact on how we perceive and consider the world around us. And as we live in this world, perspectives vary greatly in geography and time. A baseball bat is just a bit of America's favorite pastime. To others, it is a potential weapon. A car is transportation. And to others, a strong statement of style. So, a bit of kindness and chivalry is expected. To others, it is an insult, perhaps even an assault. To some, a fork is just a fork. To others, a symbol of evil. We are all different. So it makes you wonder, how can we ever get along with others? So here's the ounce. It is sometimes useful to reevaluate how we've decided to see the world. A new perspective is not always wrong. It might just be different. So, find the good and be careful how you judge. And that's it. An ounce submitted for your consideration. Kind of funny how the fork has gone from being a tool of the devil to being a very good way to eat your vegetables. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please do give us a like, share, and comment. We'd love to hear from you. And all of that activity back and forth, sharing, liking, commenting, it helps the internet realize we're worth watching. And we need your help for that. Thanks.